Fear is a coward. It only confronts you when you're weak, when you're tired, when you're exhausted, when you're full of doubt. When you're confident, when you're strong, when you know what you're doing, when your friends are around you, fear stays away, doesn't it? I wrote that in my book, Never Fear, Never Quit. It's out of print now in the U.S., but in Asia it's going strong, having sold 250,000 copies and still going. Go figure. Before you can confront fear, and you have to confront fear. You can't let it confront you. But before you can confront it, you have to diagnose it. What is it that I'm feeling? What is this fear? And first of all, let's distinguish between 3 different words that we use as if they were the same. Fear, anxiety, and worry. Oh, I'm really afraid of this. I'm awful anxious about that. I'm worried this will happen. Those are 3 different things, and it's important that you understand that. Anxiety. Anxiety is a generalized sense of dread with no object. Philosopher Paul Tillich said, anxiety is the most painful emotion. Why? Precisely because it is this general sense of dread. Anxiety is like the black cloud on the horizon. Nothing you can do about it. Fear, on the other hand, is specific. You are afraid of something. If anxiety is the black cloud, then fear is the raging storm right overhead that you can see it right there. It has an object. And worry is the forecast of more raging storms off into the future. 3 different things. And here's the problem, as Tillich points out. Because anxiety is such a painful emotion, because it feels like it's beyond our control, we try to make it become fear. You know this. If you're walking down a strange city full of anxiety, everybody looks scary. If you're at the bingo club in your local community, the same people would not create that sense of fear because your state of mind, your anxiety level is a whole lot lower. If you're full of anxiety, you are going to react to people in a way that causes them to think you're afraid, in a way that causes you to act as if you're afraid. So start by saying, what am I feeling right now? Is anxiety causing me to see the world as a dangerous place? Is the world really a dangerous place? And if so, what can I do about it? And that gets me to the very practical suggestion. Give fear a name. If you give fear a name, it becomes just a problem, and it is easier to solve problems than it is to conquer fear. Here's a simple example, one that's very pertinent in today's world. What if you are afraid of losing your job? That is not an unreasonable fear in today's world because millions of people are losing jobs, have lost jobs. But if you're afraid of losing the job, what's the problem? The problem is you are not indispensable. That's simple. If you were indispensable, you wouldn't worry about losing the job, would you? Now, nobody is indispensable. But in any job, there are many things you can do to make yourself more valuable and thus less likely to be let go when the time comes. Volunteer for more projects, get more education, show up a little bit earlier, be a little bit more enthusiastic, stop hanging around the Dilbert cartoons with all the other pickle suckers whining about how horrible life is, and get things done. Guess what? If you lose the job anyway, somebody like that is much more likely to find an even better job all the quicker. That is, if they don't decide, I can do this on my own and start their own business. Give fear a name, turn it into a problem, work on the problem. Now, this also has a physiological effect on your brain. You know the left brain, right brain. Left brain is the rational thinker, right brain is the emotional poet. One side of the brain is always dominant, and there are times for sure when it is appropriate to be right brain, when you want to be creative, when you want to be spiritual, when love is in the picture. There are also times when you want left brain to dominate, and one of them is when you're dealing with fear. If fear is dominant, right brain, it's hard for you to think rationally. Oh my God, the sky's falling. If you can name the problem, start working on the problem, then the left brain starts taking charge. I have $3,000 in the bank. I'm spending $1,500 a month. I only have 2 more months to find a way to cut my expenses, make more money. Fear takes a back seat when left brain is in charge. Give fear a name. Confront it. Turn it into a problem. Work on the problem. So here's a follow-up question to the one I asked you in the last module yesterday. How will you confront that fear that you identified, the one fear that's holding you back, so that you can then transform that negative energy into positive energy that moves you forward, and that will be the subject of our next module. See you then.